helping to reduce gun violence. Meanwhile, with or without the help of Congress, the president saying from Hawaii yesterday that he'll meet with Attorney General Loretta Lynch on Monday to discuss his options. According to Politico, the White House is putting finishing touches on several measures, taking on an issue the president and close aides have found frustrating and intractable before the race to replace Obama enters prime time. It has been 3 years after the president's efforts to enact tighter gun laws in the wake of the Sandy Hook shooting failed in Congress. NBC's Ron Allen is live for us in Honolulu. Ron?
Good morning, Richard. This is obviously an issue that the president feels very strongly about. He has said that his inability to do more to reduce the number of mass shootings and gun violence in the United States is the biggest frustration of his time in office. So he is determined to do something during the final year of his presidency to address this issue. We believe that he is going to announce various executive actions aimed at trying to essentially change the definition of who a gun dealer is, therefore someone who would be required to conduct background checks during gun sales and purchases. There's something that we often refer to as the gun show loophole, the online loophole, which doesn't require background checks when guns are purchased through that method, that we believe might be one of the targets that the president is trying to take aim at. But we're not sure. This is something the administration has been looking at for the past several months, especially since the shooting at the community college in Oregon that left 10 dead, including the gunman. The president has formed a task force of his staff. They've been what they call scrubbing existing gun legislation, trying to figure out ways that they can tighten the laws based on executive action, because it's clear that the Congress is not going to do anything anytime soon that the president would want Congress to do. So he's going to look at his own set of powers to see what he can do to take matters into his own hands. The president has addressed the nation more than a dozen times to console the nation after mass shootings, and each time he does this, he seems to be more upset, more frustrated, more anguished about doing this. And clearly he now wants to take some action. So we expect to hear some more details on Monday about exactly what he's going to propose. And clearly there will be a lot of opposition to this from Republicans, from gun enthusiasts, from Second Amendment activists, people who feel that the lines are drawn here, that the law is clear, and that they feel that the president, if he does use some sort of executive authority on this gun issue, that he would be essentially overreaching, abusing his authority, his critics would say. So Monday, we hope again to hear more details about what the president plans to do. But clearly, he is very, very focused on this gun issue. It's a legacy issue for him. He wants to do something during the remaining time that he has in office to try and address this concern. Richard?
NBC's Ron Allen with the president. Thank you so much, Ron. Joining us now to discuss this is this morning's panel, Sabrina Siddiqui, political reporter for The Guardian. We have Jason Johnson, NBC BLK contributor, politics editor for TheRoot.com as well, and Caton Dawson, former South Carolina Republican Party chairman. We'll just go right in order here. So, Sabrina, a topic we've talked about before. The president now moving off 23 efforts that he had made post-Sandy Hook. And now you've heard from Ron Allen. What might be one of the considerations here that he'll be sitting down with Loretta Lynch to try to figure out what will work from his perspective? From what you heard in Ron's report, unlicensed gun dealers, is this going to work? Is this something he should be pursuing?
I think that certainly it's on the list of items that gun control advocates have wanted to see him take action on. Certainly Everytown for Gun Safety, the coalition that was founded by Michael Bloomberg, they've put forward their own recommendations, for example, to set how many guns a seller may be distributing in a year, a limit on those. So if it's 25 guns, for example, that person qualifies then as a licensed gun dealer, or should be defined as such. I think what the administration has been doing for a long time is seeing what would hold up legally, because of course that's the big question here. They fully expect that they will be challenged in the courts. You already have certain gun rights supporters and groups crying afoul and saying this is overreach, and so I think they're really trying to be careful, and that's why these are going to be very limited actions, and certainly the expectation is that this is as much as he can get done before he passes along the way.
I mean, has our panel heard of other efforts that the president might be considering in addition to this? Because obviously they're cobbling together what might be practically moved forward.
I mean, look, the reality is that the president, sort of like what Sabrina is saying, he's trying to think thinks it can actually be done. Not much can actually be done if Congress doesn't get involved. And that's the most disappointing part. And every single time, I think initially what the administration did is they're like, okay, let's try to pass a law that would stop this particular event from happening. But when that didn't work, now he's trying executive action. I think most of these things, they probably won't stand up in court. So I think they're really caught. There isn't much can be done unless Congress gets involved.
So as you look at this then, Caton, do you think that this might work, what Ron Allen is talking about? Because what has been said is that the president president is trying to split the difference, get both sides together on common sense issues.
We're in the middle of campaign season. It's the Clintons versus whoever we're going to nominate out of our whole plethora of candidates. What it will do is it'll fire back up the Tea Party base on executive orders, constitutional authority with the president. It'll fire up that base. It won't start a decent gun control conversation that we've talked about on this show before, which about 74% of Republicans are for universal background checks. They're for background checks at gun shows. So there is some politics here that work with gun control that the president hadn't been successful at using.
This is not the right time, is what you're saying. What is the right time, then, post-election?
Well, there isn't really a right time, and I think that this is the first election, though, where you are seeing this be a major campaign issue. Certainly Hillary Clinton and Democrats, for the first time in a major campaign, are running aggressively on the need for stricter gun laws. And Hillary Clinton has also said that as president, she would use executive action to move forward some of what this administration has not. Republicans, at the same time, of course, they are universally against any new, at least in the term of the course of their campaign, any new background checks, any new laws whatsoever. So I think for the first time in 2016, you might see a major conversation around this issue. You know, of course, at the end of the day, it's really going to depend on whether you see a Democrat or Republican in the White House. I wouldn't expect any changes, especially if the House Republicans, if Republicans still maintain control of the House. I wouldn't even expect exchanges under Hillary Clinton.
As what Ron was saying, the reaction from gun rights advocates, right? And might this then invigorate those who support that and maybe get the effect opposite of what he is desiring, which we have seen in previous moves by the president. So this is a legacy issue then, isn't it?
Right. It's a legacy issue, and it's something he's legitimately concerned about, something the public is legitimately concerned about. And there are so many different things that, as Caton mentioned, that the public is in favor of. Republicans and Democrats are in favor of. The gun show loophole is something fairly simple. The idea that you can't just buy guns after a 3-day background check, like what happened with Dylan Ruth in South Carolina. These are things that everyone agrees on, but the politics have prevented it from happening. I don't know if that'll change after 2016.
Quick, Caton.
What it starts as a mental health conversation with Republicans. They pivot from gun control to mental health, which everybody's capable or culpable in that space.
Okay, thank you all three, our panel, for their perspective on that. Up next, why Bill